Once you've completed the setup of your eCourse, you're going to go back to your workshop application under Course Management and eCourses, and you can see here the course you've created should show up under your draft eCourses list. What we're going to do is, one, make sure we're in the eCourse we have created or added a content author. So again, if you go into the setup section under content author, make sure that yourself or whoever will be completing and building the eCourse is selected as the content author. If this is not done, no one can access and begin building the course components. Make sure that's saved. And now you're going to go to the Instructor Author tab on the left-hand side of the screen. Once under the Instructor Author tab, you're going to click on eCourses, and you're going to find the course that you're currently working on. You open up that option and go to the Author section, and you're going to see when you initially start you have a completely blank list. In the bottom left of the screen you have the option to create a new element, and there are 3 types of elements that you can add to your eCourse. So eCourses are broken down by chapter. Within each chapter there are topics and assessments. So what you'll want to do is have a framework designed for how your eCourse will look based on chapters and what topics will go under each chapter, and then within those topics when you're going to have your assessments. If you're going to have one large assessment at the end, if you're going to have various assessments throughout the course of the training, however you want to set that up. So with that framework in mind, you'll begin the process of developing your elements. So I'm going to start by adding a chapter. Click Next in the bottom right. You'll title your chapter. You'll click Finish, and you'll see here you can add a chapter description. You'll click Save. So now we see we have a chapter. So you may have an overview chapter. You may have a chapter on the setup. We may have a chapter on authoring the eCourse, etc. So we've added some of our chapter components. Now when you want to add a topic, if you do the same, create element. We're going to create a topic. So maybe we have our introduction. The introduction is going to go underneath our overview. And you can see now it's been added to a drop-down menu. And once you have the introduction, you notice that it shows up as a notebook icon. You can actually go in now and you have the editing window. So now you have the ability to begin authoring your content. So this is like a general Word document window. All your basic functionality. Again, your menu bars, you can see you have your save and delete. This delete refers specifically, you can see, to this topic. So if you do delete a topic or a chapter or an assessment, again, you can't get that back. So make sure if you're deleting something, you actually want it to go away. We have our spell check option, which I always highly recommend that as you're going through the eCourse that you not only do the spell check, but have somebody else go through it for you and look for any grammatical errors. You have your basic options for fonts, and this is really up to you as to what you want to use. Font size, your bold, italics, underline, subscript, superscript. Then you have your copy, cut, and paste features, as well as a undo and a redo option, just like a standard word editing software. You have your justifications here, your left, center, right, and fully justified. You have the ability to run numbered list or ordered list, as well as bulleted list, your indent options, and then you have your font color, background color options. So as you begin going through the process of creating or authoring your content, you can work directly within this window. You can, of course, copy and paste over from any other word processing softwares or Google Docs or anything of that nature as well. So you can copy that material in and do any formatting or editing you would like to do here. Once you have that information added, you also have options for different elements here. You have a strike through that you can add good section breaks to provide some visual breaks of the information if needed. You also have the ability to add images with the images insert and modify. From there, you would just basically go through the same process of choosing your file. You can add a text, which basically the alternate text is if you hover over the image, you would see that text displayed. You can add a border by default. You can change the alignment if you want it in the middle, right, left of the image. You can add spacing. And you'll see here, this window doesn't open very large. When you hit upload, you'll get your preview in the bottom. And you click OK, and it's going to add it to the page. For the most part, the images you add here are going to be sized according to the image that is saved. So if you want a smaller format picture, you'll want to go through the process of making that image smaller. One of my preferred methods of grabbing images for my eCourse a lot of times is screenshots. So if you're comfortable with the snipping tool on a Windows-based machine, you can go through and actually begin taking screenshots and then using the save option to save those snips into a folder where you're building your eCourse from. So if you save a series of images, it's very simple to upload those. If you want to do any editing within the images and you have basic functionality, I've used anything from PowerPoint to add different components to the image as far as arrows or boxes to highlight key components of my screenshots, and then gone back and again resaved those as images for upload into the eCourse. You could of course also do that through any type of Adobe software, Photoshop, etc., just depending on your level of knowledge and expertise. Images can be added in this way. You can also go through and of course add things like hyperlinks or videos. They're a little bit more difficult. They basically require you to know a little bit of background in HTML, but I've provided a lot of that information for you in the step guide. So if you're going to provide a link, what you would have to do is access this toggle HTML source. And you can see here basically what it gives you is the background coding for this screen. If you click the toggle again, it comes back to the live view. And so if you want to add a hyperlink within the step guide, actually a piece of code that can be copied and pasted in. So you can see here what's happening is this is actually going to add this text. The sample hyperlink using the source code above takes you to the Waco ISD homepage and then these brackets are going to house the actual URL, some information regarding the font size, which can actually be adjusted in the regular window. In between here we have what actually is going to be the hyperlinked text, and then that completes the hyperlink, and then it ends with this remaining text. So when we toggle back over, what you should see is this text, a hyperlink, and this text following. If we scroll down to the bottom, you can see here a sample hyperlink using the source code, and if you click on that, it actually takes you to the hyperlink sections. So there we should actually get access to the Waco ISD website or any other website that you choose. So again, if you have access to the help document and you have this basic piece of code here, you can use this throughout your document to hyperlink any materials you need. You can also upload things like videos using a similar format, and probably one of the simplest ways to do that is just going through YouTube. So if you have a video in YouTube that you want to add to your training, so here's a sample of one I just made for the setup of the eCourse. On YouTube, once you have a video, if you just use the share option, and in the bottom right hand corner it has an embed option, and you can see here it actually gives you the embed code, which is built within those same frames. What I recommend here is taking off the show suggested videos. That way it doesn't pop up any additional videos at the end that you may not want the participants to see. And then what I do is then take the embed code by going copy, and you just come back in here, paste the code in, and again if we toggle back you can see that now we've added our course. If you need to move the location of the video, you can always just move it on this screen. Basically I've gone in, placed my cursor in front, I'm hitting the enter key to move it about. So if you want to resize the video at this point, back in the HTML code you can see that the frame has a width of 560, this is in pixels, and a height of 315. If you want the video to adjust with the screen size based on what device is being used, You could change the width to 100%, but you are going to have to choose a set number for your height. So maybe we use something like 600. Again, if you toggle back to your regular code, you can see now it is actually a full screen here. If I adjust the size of the screen, the width will adjust with the screen, but you notice the height is staying the same. So again, it should operate well with most devices at that point, unless it gets too skewed. You can see here the video plays directly in your same window. And if you want to see overall what your course looks like to the end user, you have this option for View Topic Preview. And you can see here's the introductions, the sections, the image, and the video, just like your final participant or attendee will see. The last option in here is the View Hide Topic Properties. If you click this in the right-hand menu, you see Topic Title. You can adjust the topic title here at this point. If you want to change it from introduction, you can change that here in Update. And you can also add additional media files as attachments. So if you had something you wanted to attach specifically to this section, whether it be an image, Word document, PDF, you can see if you attach, and then if you click preview, you'll see that the attachment actually is placed on top of the page, and they can access that image there. So these are the basic steps in authoring. Really, again, the more comfort level or knowledge you have in background with HTML, if you go out there and you Google HTML coding, you can basically add just about anything you want to the course. But again, the hyperlinks and the videos are the most standard features. And so if you go through the guide sheet, it gives you those source codes, and then you just have to make your changes based on the individual images or hyperlinks that you're using. Once you get used to it and toggling back and forth, it becomes pretty simple. And again, once you get back here, you can adjust the look of it by simply highlighting, changing font, etc. And you can make it visually pleasing and appealing for your participants.